Alrighty, welcome to episode 261 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Hot on the heels of last week's vehicle to load adapter, Tesla says vehicle to grid is not far away in Australia and should be a lot cheaper than what everyone else is offering. Tesla Energy's Asia Pacific head Joseph Tadich says the cheapest way to do it is build the inverter into the car at the factory in serial production rather than the separate DC connected inverter boxes rivals use, which he called a little prohibitive on cost. One hold-up is regulatory. Australia's inverter standard AS-NZS 4777 was written around standalone inverters, not cars. Notably, Tesla isn't joining the Arena-backed V2G pilot that's running BYD Atto 3s with the retailer Amber. It's going its own way with its own system. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and once again, welcome to the program. And as is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello. Or perhaps a little bit later on, and I think Steve, are you gesticulating or?
I was just counting down from five, four, three,
Oh,
two,
all right.
one.
Very good. Um, all right. So, and obviously there's another small news item, which is the impending SpaceX IPO, which I dare say pretty much if you haven't already applied for shares with CommSec
Yep.
as an Australian resident, you're pretty much probably too late now. As
No,
have
they closed at 3 o'clock our time.
they did or they will?
No, they
Did.
did at 3
Oh,
p.m.
cool.
today
Okay, so it's all over.
our
Cool.
time. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I highly recommend you go and apply for shares. No, sorry, well, it's not really advice because it's in the future, and this is hindsight, Harry, that maybe in a few days might be saying, yeah, it was a good idea. So okay, so the application's closed at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Then I presume tomorrow sometime those who have applied will be informed of the allocation they actually got, that being Thursday. And then Friday is when they trade. However, it's obviously Friday Nasdaq time, which is 9:30, I think, p.m. on Friday night for us, um, which is going to be exciting times. And I guess since it is the IPO, yeah, I've got a funny feeling my hindsight, Harry, probably said I should have sold all my Tesla shares, paid 25% tax because most of the capital gain it's almost all capital gain, poured it all into the IPO, wait till SpaceX doubles or more, sell them all, pour it back into Tesla, and then wait for 18 months to pay all the tax. But maybe be ahead. But anyway, it's certainly going to be very interesting times ahead. And this is, as Alan Kohler on the ABC Finance segment tonight said, this is the first of three correctly named AI IPOs, all of which are going to be well above $1 trillion. So there you go. Has anyone got any opening questions or comments?
The other two should be Anthropic and OpenAI.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Headed by Sam Altman, as quoted by Elon Musk.
Yes.
I don't think Sam Altman's got any interest in suing me, little me personally, over that. Anyway, let's just leave that. Yes, three correctly named AI IPOs, which is pretty exciting. Oh yeah, another thing too is obviously there is the hint of vehicle to grid coming for Tesla in Australia, as mentioned in the news. One of the biggest wrinkles, though, I mean, it was just a throwaway comment. You know, there is a regulatory situation in Australia. There is that standard 4777, but that applies to a vehicle to grid infrastructure connected to your house and part of your house as the inverter on your house, a little bit like a hybrid solar inverter. Whereas Tesla's approach is like what they've already established on the Cybertruck, which is you have the inverter already where it is, which is on the car, and it's already been paid for, so you might as well use that. And then have very simple equipment, which is in effect a gateway which just simply measures the power flow in and out of your house, so that you could, for example, have it set for zero net export, so your car would only provide power suitable for your house only and not export anything to the grid. However, obviously exporting to the grid as part of a virtual power plant is something that's more than easily achievable. But I guess as someone who's seen Tesla announce that the three-phase Powerwall was coming soon in 2019, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But something at least one or two of us will be able to confirm fairly soon once we get an adapter for the Model Y L is we're going to try and find out whether there's any potential for three-phase power to come out of the charge port. So that's something we'll suss out and then obviously report on a subsequent Ask Us Anything.
Here's a question. Did anyone manage to get any of the adapters before they sold out?
What do you mean before they sold out? They never sold in.
Yeah, have a look on the Tesla shop and just filter for Model Y L. And
I actually put in a thing that says email me if they become available, and I never got an email.
yeah, me too. And I never got an email either.
So I hope you're not telling me that it's now showing as sold out.
It is. So,
yeah, awesome. Good job.
Just have one available. just one.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to click on shop and charging. That's
Good old Pete always brings the good news.
No, Pete. I disagree with you. It says coming soon.
Coming soon.
So
does it?
it's not sold out. So I'm not sure. I'd like to have what you're on, Pete. So
yeah,
it's coming.
I'm on some good
coming
stuff
soon.
over here.
Yeah. So it's
let
just
me
it's only
double check.
coming soon. It's not sold out.
Right. Okay.
And this is on the ENAU shop, not.
No, it says out of stock. Look, I'll take a screenshot. I've just gone into the app.
Well,
Says
we're looking at the
out-
live image here, Pete. So it says coming soon here, and I'll click on it, and it
Hang
still
on.
says this item is coming soon. Email me when this item is available. This is the one with the famously upside down single phase outlet. So I don't know if they can be coming soon and out of stock at the same time.
Well, this is the screenshot I've literally just taken. I've just put it into chat. Literally says out of stock
Is this your app or is this on the website?
on the app.
Oh.
Yeah, that might be different. That might be different because the app might not have the ability for you to say, email me when available.
No, it does.
Or does it?
Yep.
Oh,
It
okay.
says out of stock. You'll be notified when available. You can click on a little arrow if you go into it.
Okay, let me just bring up your screenshot. Oh no, that wasn't you. That was James. So James agrees that it's coming soon, and Pete differs to say it's out of stock. So one of yous is right. But I'm going with James because I've got the same result on the website.
Well, I want to go with James because, like I said, I put my email down as well and haven't if I did receive an email, I haven't noticed it.
No.
But yeah, it's now it's there. It is. I've done three screenshots now. It's showing out of stock, and it is actually the Australian one. I made sure you can see that it's got the,
Yep.
3 prongs.
Is
Yeah.
it?
I can
is it a matter
confer
of
that
semantics?
that Harold is correct and Pete is correct.
Yeah, it's a matter of semantics. It's out of stock because it's never been in stock.
It's out of stock on the website, and it's it's coming soon on the website. It's out of stock in the app.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess you could say that the website is more accurate in that it was never in stock and it's coming soon. But semantically, the app is correct. It's out of stock. It's just not out of stock for the first time because it never was in stock.
Maybe they don't have a coming soon option on the app.
Yep.
So they just chose out of stock.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. In fact, I don't really quite know why you'd bother with coming soon because we all knew it was something that was required, and we're all frustrated that it wasn't able to be bought before the cars arrived. And I guess now we're continuing to be frustrated because it's not available since the cars arrived. And what does soon mean? Anyway,
Just like making those itches that you can't scratch, a bit like FSD for certain owners.
Oh yeah.
Yes, very itchy.
yeah, which is why I'm here on a Wednesday and not on the road, still driving for another hour and a half. But yeah, so what we'll definitely do is once we get an adapter, is we'll break it up. I mean, yes, we'll break it apart and stick in a couple of doodads in here to see if we can get any sign of 3-phase, which would be super duper interesting, although not likely. But you never know, your luck. And that would be a red hot thing for the vehicle to grid, because it would be great if you had 3-phase power coming out rather than just 3.5 kilowatts. But then again, 3.5 kilowatts is still pretty good for a house.
Is that just for the Model Y L, like the vehicle to grid, or will it?
Well, I'm
Could be the
certain that
performance as well.
the Y performance has been spoken of previously as being able to do this, but in all of Tesla's literature,
Yeah.
on the Australian website, it says Model YL. So on the actual shop, it says this adapter is currently only compatible with Model YL.
Yeah, on the performance it can as well, apparently.
Exactly,
No,
but it's
only in
not
the US.
strictly what
Yeah.
the what it says here.
If you go to the US store, Harold, go to the US store and look at their American style, the
Yes.
adapter, that is for both the Cybertruck and the performance in the US.
So what you really need to do is look at the German website
Yeah.
to see if the vehicle to load is available for the performance wise, because you'll know that they will be the same ones that we get in Australia, the ones that are made in Germany. So that will be the clincher, is to look at the German
I'm looking now. I'll
web
let you
store.
know.
Yeah, cool. And see if it's available for that. Alrighty. Yes, that's the vehicle to load, vehicle to grid potential, and the SpaceX IPO. Yeah, anything else that anyone's got a question or a comment about?
Well, if no one else is talking, the not vehicle to load, but the thing that the Tesla does in America with the power share, which doesn't go to grid, just goes to if you've got a Tesla charger, a Tesla
Yes.
gateway, and a Tesla
Yes.
battery,
Yes.
it'll put power into the battery. Therefore, it's a closed environment. It doesn't need regulatory information because it's not power to grid.
No, yeah, but it is not power to the battery, because you don't need a power wall to have power share in the States. You just need a gateway if you haven't got a power wall. So if you have a power wall, you'll always have a gateway. But if you don't have a power wall, you need to buy a gateway as well as the next generation of wall connector And that combination, which was the photo that I had in the news, which I'll just dig out, um, that that will get you vehicle to house, vehicle to home. And really all that vehicle to home is vehicle to grid without anything going out to the grid. It only just supplies what your house needs and doesn't export anything. I'll just get that image back up because all I did was I got Grok to doctor it and take out the Cybertruck that was in the image and put in I asked for a YL, but it only gave me a Y and didn't quite do it correctly. But thankfully, no one noticed because no one looks at the news
We all noticed.
picture.
We noticed.
Yeah. You'll certainly notice. Hey, Russell, you're going to notice in about 30 seconds. And then you can play it back and then yell at the news broadcast. I'll just bring it up. So, and that one actually shows the minimum viable product, which is a wall connector and a gateway for vehicle. Let's call it vehicle to home. News images. Here we go. It is this one. So this one here, this originally was a Cybertruck, and you'll notice I could not get it to put the plug where it's supposed to be. But anyway,
It's terrible,
so this is the minimum
Harold.
product.
How could you put that up? Oh, shocking.
I know. So, and every time I got it to move it then started changing. It added more conduits here, and I just kept on making it worse. So I just left it. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's a standard wall connector, and then you've got a gateway, and then you've got, effectively the rest of the house. So that is your minimum viable product for a vehicle to home. And it could also be vehicle to grid because the gateway could decide to allow the car to export extra to the grid if that was favorable because of, arbitrage or whatever. And yeah, you can confirm it's Grok because it even watermarks it for whatever reason. So there you go.
There is no power out on the German shop.
Right.
They don't have that attachment.
No. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. But the YL, sorry, the Performance Y from Germany might have the ability. They just haven't decided to spruik it. Maybe because in the European market they haven't got the adapter yet, and they don't want all the Germans and Europeans complaining that we've got a car that can do something, but for want of an adapter that's not yet available. Whereas perhaps in Australia, Tesla's a bit more comfortable in having us pine for something that we can't get, like FSD and stuff. On some slightly better news, although most people in this room won't care, although some of us will or do, one little bit of good news, which is related to getting things you can't, or finally getting something that you really want and haven't been able to get so far, is if we zoom into a little place called Camberwell, courtesy of Ruby Rose, who is a plug sharer, the NRMA have finally installed but not yet commissioned a 160 kilowatt Illumina battery buffered fast DC charger in Camberwell, which is almost in the centre of Australia. So that's a little glimmer of good news for a few of us that have done laps. That's certainly a very useful spot. So good on you, NRMA. Let's hope you commission it quite promptly. And speaking of which, I haven't got official confirmation, but I'm pretty certain it's what's actually going to be happening. There's a group of Illumina employees that are in Perth at the moment as we speak, and they're doing a couple of jobs tomorrow and Friday in Perth. And then I believe shortly thereafter, for the next couple of weeks, they will be going up and down the Great Northern Highway, for which I presume, but haven't asked, but I presume is to basically commission and get those Illumina DC chargers along the Great Northern Highway up and running. But that's my summation. I haven't had the opportunity to ask formally, but certainly by next week's episode, it will be locked in as what they're doing. But I think that's what's happening. So that's potentially very good news for anyone wanting to go up the Great Northern Highway for, say, the next school holidays coming up in 3-ish weeks. So that's another great achievement, to just reduce the desert that is basically between Perth and the Karijini National Park.
Actually, I think that deserves a bit more commentary, because it definitely is a great achievement, primarily because of the work that you've done, Harold, on all your trips and all the information that you've supplied, and what the club's done in terms of advocating for the charges up the Great Northern Highway, something that the state government hasn't been able to do. Or hasn't even been
Unwilling to do.
unwilling to do. Yes, that's probably more accurate. Yes. So
Because governments are able to do anything. They just need the will.
Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, thank you on behalf of everyone in WA, Harold, for all the work that you've put in for that very important run.
It's something that TOCWA commissioned a report into the Great Northern Highway, into the WAV network. And of course, one of the greatest recommendations, which was one of the prime points of basically commissioning the report in the first place, was to argue the case for the Great Northern Highway, which was a great omission as a very important route to cover between Perth and the Pilbara. The coast road is great, but there is also another very important route, and it enables people now to do a loop. So once these charges are commissioned, and there are a couple of gaps, but they will be filled. But you'll be able to go from Perth up the inland route and then go back down the coastal route, or vice versa, which is much more pleasing, because it means, say, if you went up to Karratha for a holiday or whatever, your holiday doesn't stop when you start going backtracking. It continues, because then you can go to Newman, and you've got, Tom Price Paraburdoo available, and, Meekatharra and all the other places that,
Karijini.
Karijini is a big one too. Yeah, exactly. So, and again, you could still get to Karijini today, but you'd have to go the coast road, go across, and Karijini is about here, and then you'd have to backtrack all the same way, unless, of course, you wanted to punish yourself and take the risk of using local caravan parks on single phase 15 or 10 amp single phase power, except for places like, say, Mount Magnet, whereby the council is so anti-EV that the caravan park that they own has been instructed to ban any EV from using a standard 15 amp power point. Unlike all of the caravanners that have a multitude of induction cooktops and large air conditioners and their own battery systems they want to charge up and all that sort of stuff, they're welcome to do that. But if you are an EV tow vehicle, then you are specifically barred for safety reasons at Mount Magnet which is on the Great Northern Highway, from using it. So you just don't want to punish yourself having to do that and take the risk of begging someone to let you charge, particularly when the WA government, state government, has said in its WA EV strategy document that they are all for EVs and they want to promote EVs and they want to encourage everyone to have an EV. Just don't bother taking it up the Great Northern Highway because we can't be bothered building it, and we can't be bothered instructing councils to simply treat an EV just like any other basic appliance.
And this is also despite their position paper, which they've put out,
Yes.
calling for minimum charging infrastructure for EVs. And pretty sure caravan parks are in there. And I can't remember I can't remember what it was, but I've got a feeling that it might have been the ability to charge a car at each bay. But I'll look it up. It's the WA state government position paper on EV charging infrastructure or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I sincerely hope, I mean, I do know they're going up there to do stuff for the network. I just hope that by the next couple of weeks, the result will be that they'll all appear on ChargeFox or whatever provider and be able to be used by the public. And then it means, you know, some of us can do silly things like just chuck a lap over a couple of days to do a loop, you know, just because it's there. Because you know what? If you build it, people will come and use it. Surprisingly so. Unsurprisingly, if you don't build it, people won't come and use it. And if you build it and you don't maintain it and it breaks, then it's a bit of a catch-22 to say, well, I'm not really going to fix it because no one's really using it. And it's like, well, you can't use it if it's broken. Horizon Power, by the way.
Exactly. So it is, so I've just looked it up. So caravan park, I've put it into chat. Level 1, 1 bay per powered site. Level 1, 50% of communal bays. So half of the communal bays and 1 for each powered site.
Let's just chuck that up there. Yeah, and I mean, and level 1 is, you know, 10 or 15 amps, but that's fine because at least because you're staying overnight anyway. But you know, one bay per powered site for an EV, so that, and it's funny. I've even seen some of this going on in America where caravan parks will allow you to plug your caravan in, but not your EV. So what people do is they plug their caravan in. There's a few different caravans that are electric and have their own power supplies. They'll plug the caravan in, and then they'll plug their car into the caravan, which is actually what I was able to do when I did my ridiculous caravan laps. Is the only thing that touched the caravan park was the caravan, and that was all okay. And then my car just drew from the caravan anyway. But yeah, it's just anyway. The imminent opening of the Great Northern Highway, or at least most of it, is a great achievement, and really it gets down to a private company, as in Illumina Global, an Australian company, putting up the funds, for which there was, to be fair, there was a 50% rebate from the WA government. But of course, it wasn't the WA government that instructed Horizon Power, possibly, thankfully, to put charges up and down the Great Northern Highway. That's something that the WA government wasn't interested in doing explicitly. So big kudos to Illumina, who have spent millions of dollars installing the Great Northern Highway.
What's really cool is in a couple of months, it should be wildflower season.
Yes, in August, September, I think. I
Yes.
think that's right.
I've
So
always
that'll-
wanted
yeah,
to
and-
do that.
Well, and now you will be able to, Mike, because without punishing yourself,
I know what you're talking
slow trips are great, but it's good to do it to drive slowly, not necessarily to be forced to be in a location longer than you want, purely for want of appropriate charging. That's quite devastating because it means you can't even do little side trips, which every first world person might want to do, because no one can walk more than 20 k's a day, and sometimes the attractions are a little bit further than walking distance from the nearest town. So, yeah, definitely good for wildflower season. Richard.
Harold, can I just something you said a second ago about plugging your car into the caravan? So we've got a camper trailer now. So yeah, I plugged the Model X into the camper trailer, and I think it was at the Big Four in Lancelin, and they were like, "We know what you're doing. You can't charge your car here," and we really like that campsite, so we obliged. But yeah, they were wise to that.
You know what? Just put a meter on every single outlet and have the policy. There's X service fee
100%,
to have a
mate.
have
100%.
a powered site, and just put a meter on every single one of them. And if they want, the technology is not that expensive because you can have credit card readers on parking meters, which are
We,
micro
we,
payments. You
we
pay
were
a
in
few
Dunsborough.
dollars,
We were
Richard.
in Dunsborough over, when was it? I don't know, last school holidays or whenever it was, and they said, "Oh no, you can't charge your car here because it will blow it up."
It
And I said,
will
"I've been
blow it.
charging it.
It will blow what up?
It will blow the car up." We
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said, I've been charging at caravan sites in WA, including the Pilbara and the Kimberley, since 9 years maybe. And I'm like, look, here is 3 times more money than I could possibly ever consume. Here is my money, cash in hand. So that you can put more fuel in that Lamborghini Gallardo that you've got out there, that is the owner of the campsites, who I was speaking to. And she said, no, we're not doing it. But we might put some chargers out the front at some point.
Oh,
Don't hold
okay,
your
with
breath.
like an exclusion zone, so that if you go atomic, it'll just burn in
Yeah,
free
yeah, yeah.
space and not near a tree or
Presumably.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the prejudice is high. I mean, I'm certain that 130 years ago, when cars were exotic, everyone with a horse laughed at those silly car things with their weird glass bottles of petroleum fuel and said that stuff will never take off. And then, within a generation later on, everyone had one. So I
Do,
guess
do you know, hilariously
yeah.
enough, I've done enough backpacking through Southeast Asia that I bought so much fuel off the roadside in Coke bowls put them
Yep.
in motocross bikes that
Yes,
these days
I
are still
do.
with us.
Yeah, I've
No
seen it
sense
in
to complain.
Bali decades ago. I've seen it. Yeah, absolutely.
I saw it in Bali last year. Still do it.
Yep, indeed.
Harold,
Alrighty.
Harold, the
Yes.
transitions from horses to cars, though, they actually were correct. So I do think petrol cars did explode a little bit more than horses.
This is true. That
Yet
that is
it wasn't a limiting factor back then.
no, no,
I'm not
exactly.
sure. I don't have any numbers. That's purely opinion. I have no figures on the spontaneous combustion of horses.
I'm sure it's happened somewhere, possibly aided by some lightning. But yes. But look, there is some, let's call it irrational dislike for EVs, and it's always easy to pull a perceived safety clause to simply say, "Oh, well, we want to invoke the precautionary principle." But of course, I mean, it just doesn't apply. if they're concerned about lithium-ion batteries or whatever, actually, I think really what it is it's just a proxy for saying we haven't set up our billing system to cope with this sort of stuff, and we are concerned that an EV will drag 15 amps all night, the whole night, and that's more than most caravans used to do. But again, I've actually spoken to caravan park owners saying that they actually put 10 amp circuit breakers on their 15 amp outlets because they're sick of these modern caravanners with 2 lots of air cons and big fridges and washing machines pulling kilowatts of power continually. And a lot of them have lithium ion batteries. Not that they're the problem, but they're basically filling up their batteries so they can do some free camping later on. So,
But isn't it ridiculous? Like you're there providing a service for your customers, and so the customers have got higher demands for your services, and your response to that is, well, we're just going to cut them off. We're just not going to give them access to what they want, rather than going, okay, well, there's an opportunity here. They want to buy more electricity. Let's upgrade the network, or let's leave it as it is and just charge them for the electricity and put a 20% margin on top. It's just so backward, and it just means there's not enough competition. That's the problem with caravan parks, because it's rare that you'd have 2 competing caravan parks. It's usually 1 per town. And,
And also, Pete, I don't understand that a popular caravan site in the middle of summer that's packed, they're probably running at the limit of all their power. But why not? Yes, you can charge, but only overnight, 11 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And is it just our Teslas? Because I've noticed that my daughter's EV, MG, you can't limit the charging. It is full whack all the time as soon as you plug it in. There is no thing in the EV to charge it down. Whereas if I'm in a caravan site, I'll probably put it down to 8 amps, just so I'm not sucking 15 amps all night on 40-year-old infrastructure with a rusted post that's gaffer taped on.
Yep. So I wouldn't. I guess we don't know. The answer is we don't know what all the other car manufacturers do. We obviously know Tesla does go down to below the J1772 or the whatever the standard is. That's what the Type 2 standard's based on anyway, and that's 6 amps is the actual minimum by the EVSE standard, but the Tesla actually goes down to 5 amps, whether it's single phase or 3 phase. But yeah, maybe a lot of other manufacturers go, well, we're capable of drawing what we can draw. It's up to the EVSE, in other words, the charging equipment, to tell us to draw less if that's what should be done. So I guess where Tesla is maybe a more mature product, back in the day when it was useful to tell it to draw less, especially from a connector, from a PowerPoint, using the UMC or the mobile connector, is what it's called these days. That's that portable charger. I guess a lot of the other manufacturers, the younger manufacturers, say, well, we're able to pull whatever we can pull, and we'll leave it up to the charging equipment to tell us what to do, rather than burdening the user, the owner, with that.
Do you think the simple thing would be like caravan parks go, look, we're not sure about this. Infrastructure's old. We don't want 10 EVs charging all day in peak season. But however, there's our maintenance shed. We've tested that plug. We're happy to plug in over there.
Well, I actually think it's going to go further. If you went to a restaurant or a cafe or a restaurant 20 years ago, 20 years ago, there were 0 USB outlets or anything for customers. Nothing. Now, most cafes and places where you'll hang out for a while, not necessarily restaurants, but cafes, will have USB outlets near tables and all that sort of stuff for the convenience of people charging their phone. They'll have
even
free
the train
Wi-Fi.
has it. Even the train has it now.
Trains, buses have it. You see buses.
Airports.
A lot of buses you'll see, I actually thought they were the break glass detectors, they usually have blue LEDs on this little module. But when you look closer, it's actually got USB outlets for charging phones primarily. So, in much the same way as the service providers have adapted to provide more service and convenience, I think eventually let's call it the mid-century caravan parks and that kind of thinking will adapt to the 21st century. And where you have a KMAC, which is I think that's a brand name for the power outlets at each of the sites on caravans parks, I think it won't be too long. I'm sure KMAC have already made them where you'll have a Type 2 outlet that you just plug your cable into, and so you can plug your caravan in and your car in. And the best part is, if it's metered, it could just be automatic. You could have, again, like I was saying before, simple microtransaction parking meters have credit card acceptors or apps. So too can a caravan park implement an upgraded KMAC that has a credit card acceptor for your payment, or be hooked up to ChargeFox or some other provider, whereby each pillar charges your caravan or powers your caravan and charges your car. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of which one of the larger organisations comes out with it first as a feature to encourage EV towers.
It's no different, I guess, to what you're saying about restaurants. 20 years ago, no restaurant would have had vegan
No.
food, gluten-free food, allergen-free food, and they don't do it until they lose enough business. To suddenly,
Yes.
why have our business dropped off? Because a family has one vegan, they don't go to your restaurant anymore. So,
Yeah.
hey, why is no one going to our caravan park anymore? Because they're going 100 k's up the road to X caravan park because they allow something you don't, and there's a percentage.
Harold, is there a kit available that combines solar panels, a battery buffer of some sort, with a 240 volt outlet that you could then plug the car into? Because I'm just so
Yes.
sick now of going to caravan parks and just having this drama. I just want to be able to roll out a few solar panels and just chug away at 5 amps or anything.
Well, the short answer is yes, there is. There's like stuff like Bluetti, and there's probably a whole number of them these days, where you have it's like a carton of beer or a carton of Corona. That's the only beer I can sort of think of. It's not, it's like that sort of size, weighs a fair bit, might have a couple of kilowatt hours of storage, has 240 volt input, has solar panel input. You can buy foldable solar panels. The thing is, Richard, having a few unfoldable solar panels, geez, you'd be lucky to get or you wouldn't get a kilowatt. They're probably like a couple of 100 watts, 300, 400, 500 if you really max it out. And let's face it, 500 watts gets any Tesla 3 kilometers per hour.
Don't forget,
added
we've got the camper trailer,
range.
so I've got the space in a sense to like put a reasonably sized array
Richard,
around to.
Just go down to Jason's place, have a look at my caravan that's there,
I've
and that's
stayed
what
there.
you do.
It blew up my it cooked
Richard,
the lead acid battery, so I'm not doing that again.
Richard, have a look. I put a link into chat.
Thanks, mate. I saw something come up.
For everyone else, Harold, you might want to pull it up. It's an integrated portable solar panels. You basically put a roof rack on top of your roof, which kind of partly defeats the purpose because you'll have higher drag and you'll have higher consumption. Harold's pulling it up so you can have a look.
Oh, hang on. So it's from only $342 a month. How much is
It's 3,800, but that's
Is that US?
Yeah, that's US, pretty sure.
And what's its power?
It depends on how much the sun is shining. Let me see the capacity.
Here we go.
200.
1500 watt
Yeah,
hours.
1.5 kilowatts.
Well, that's nothing. That's
Yeah.
disappointing. Solar output continue. What? Oh, sorry. When parked. Okay. So first thing, okay, 1100 watts. That's not terrible. However, and the 200 watts, make no mistake, well, that's going nowhere. That's just going to charge up your battery, presuming you've flattened it. But
Well,
the problem
Sentry
is, look
mode,
at,
Sentry mode will eat half of that.
exactly. And then the issue is, this is like those King's camper thingies that you see people put up on their roof. I'm not sure how much it costs, but it'd probably cost a similar amount almost every few years, just in the fuel cost of pushing it through the air.
Yeah.
But the wind resistance that would cause would be quite detrimental.
Yeah, exactly.
This would be okay in a zombie apocalypse, whereby you could probably limp. If you're getting, say, a kilowatt roughly, no, sorry, well, it'd be less than a kilowatt in real life, but let's be generous. You'd be able to then do in every hour at 150 watt hours, you'd be able to travel 6.6 kilometers, 6.66 kilometers an hour for 8 hours. So that's 48 k's you could limp and outrun the zombies, as long as they walk slower than 6 k's an hour.
The
And it's a
question would
pre-order.
be, would it put more range in than it took off you in a day?
I don't
Not in a
think it would.
heartbeat. Not in a heartbeat. That's right. So it only makes sense if you're. Oh no, it doesn't make
Parking
sense.
for 3 days.
It doesn't
doesn't
make
make-
sense at all.
It doesn't make sense. It's pandering to the people, and you get people that often say, "Oh, why don't you just put solar panels on your bonnet and this and that?" And it's like, if you covered your car, which they have, you're just not. I mean, look, if you parked your car outside and
No, just the whole
maybe
idea, just having those roof racks on there just makes no sense. But
no.
if you took that whole, that whole unit and put it in the boot, and with the Model YL, you can fold down the third row of seats.
Yes,
and
that's
that could
right.
probably fit that. And
Yep.
then you could put it up and, fasten it down somehow so someone wouldn't steal it. Then it would make sense. But you can imagine if the wind started howling, you wouldn't want it up
Oh,
on a
look,
windy day.
there's probably fine bits that haven't really shown. There's probably like Oki straps or something you would like sort of attach it somewhat to the underneath, or
But the wind would get in underneath the windshield,
yeah.
front windshield, and
it'll be flapping around. It'll just be
Yeah.
flapping around, and
scratching.
it'll be
Best use
scratching.
case for it would be long-term parking at an airport if you're away for 3 months.
Exactly. Yes. And that you had it plugged in. The presumption is you've had it. What they're not showing is how you plug it in. I mean, this is actually there are other images, and this is obviously the American version because it's got the NACS connector. But look, someone's just made this up as a prototype. Well, GoSun, whoever they are, and yeah, they're going to a few people will buy it. It'll be a little bit like the air mattress I bought from Tesla. It looked good when I took a photo of it, and I'll probably never use it like Richard Chapman predicted, or sorry, predicts. Oh, look, there is a bit of a strap or something there. I think there's something going on there. But yeah, look, it's a good idea. But it's not practical unless you have to go to the international airport. You want the convenience of driving your car and parking it in long-term parking, something like that. Presuming someone hasn't, helped you by folding it back up again or something because they thought that they were concerned there might be a storm coming or something, Yeah. But getting back to your original question, Richard, yeah, you can get your Blue Eddies, you can get your stuff, but the fold-out solar panels, it's really good for a fridge or something like that. It's not useful for a car. I would keep bashing at the caravan parks and say, look, here, take my money. But again, like you've seen, some people say, I don't want your money because I read on some Facebook group that, EVs blow up caravan parks.
You know what you should do, Richard? You should buy yourself a diesel generator, a big, loud, and stinking one. And
You mean there are
have-
quiet
dare
and
you.
non-stinky ones, Pete? I don't think that exists in the diesel generator.
True that. Yeah. And but you should start it up at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and have
I
it.
thought this was a family-friendly show, Pete.
All right. On that note, Mike, you've got your hand up.
Yes, I think we've done that topic to death. So I'll bring up one of our other favourite topics, which is voting for superchargers, which I did this week. And so if you haven't been and looked at the voting, it was looking very promising. And your message and preaching, Harold, for the last few weeks seems to, well, when I looked the other day, seemed to have got the message through. So just bring it up if it's not too difficult.
Yeah, no, I'm going to bring it up. I like to bring stuff up. So I'm
Especially
going to go down to the Supercharger monitor and the current digest, which was taken as of 9 a.m. this morning, shows that Belladonna had 550 votes, up 8 votes from the day before, from yesterday. And that's got a healthy margin to Ceduna, although that margin is much less important than the significant margin to Norseman, which is 387. So we're going in the right direction, very much so. And in the Asia Pacific ranking, we're second to a site in South Korea. So that's awesome.
That's great.
Now, something that I mentioned to Paul and James before the show was that I'm not really in a position to do it right this minute, but I'll do it next. I promise to do it next week. Is need to get everyone involved in putting up a suggested site for the next round of voting. And I think one of the simplest sites, although it's difficult to install, but one of the simplest ones to suggest would be a midway point such as, say, Eucla. And what I know is that Tesla sort of uses, when you suggest a site, you've got to sort of put in an address, but it doesn't have to have a street number. It just needs to be they use like an address verification type system, a little bit like Australia Post, or no doubt there's a Google version of that does it for the whole world. And you effectively enter in Air Highway, but it's like EYREHWY, and then I think it might suggest something like, it might autofill to Ceduna. And what you do is you just sort of like backspace on the Ceduna and you just put in Eucla, and then it will actually autocomplete and change HWY to highway, the whole word, or vice versa. I can't remember exactly which way it goes, but there'll be like a little trick. And then you just submit that as the suggestion for the next voting round. And if we can get, well, awesomely, it'd be, if we get a couple of hundred people all voting for that as the next suggested site for next round, and if it appears on their voting site, we then hammer that basically guarantees the Nullarbor gets done, because Tesla is not going to install something in the middle of nowhere with no way of getting to it, unless, of course, that was a supercharger in one of the major cities in Kazakhstan, which is an exception. But Australia is one country, so a successful site in Eucla would all but guarantee the completion of the Nullarbor in the next couple of years.
So, Harold, are these places independent of any existing facilities there at Eucla, if it came to be Eucla?
What do you mean independent? It's supercharger, so it is independent. Or in what sense do you mean independent, Mike?
Oh, like, is it on, like, because it'll be potentially near the Eucla facility, I assume?
No, there is no facility in Eucla. Eucla is actually a hard site. the NRMA installed the WAV network was going to install a charger at Eucla.
Yeah.
And Eucla being a gazetted town, I wrongly assumed that Horizon Power was actually the power supplier of the town of the gazetted town of Eucla. But it's not. The power there is actually supplied by a private company
See, we know
at
that
a
people-
very
As in-
reasonable $4 per kilowatt hour.
Yeah. So I don't know the ins and outs. I was just interested because, as I say, we reasonably know those people that run the Eucla petrol stop or that facility or whatever's there.
The Eucla one or the Border Village?
No, Eucla.
Oh, Eucla. Okay, cool. So what Tesla would basically do is, because Tesla has a policy of not purchasing fossil-fueled power, electricity. So all their electricity is necessarily sourced from renewable sources. So what Tesla would have to do is just slice off a tenth of the Lost Hills development, which is 1 megapack, 1.1 kilowatts of solar, and, well, possibly as many as 16 stalls. But it wouldn't have to be that many. It could just be a 4-stall supercharger setup, and install it at Eucla or near offer,
Yes.
Depending on land tenure and, all that sort of stuff.
Because we don't talk
So-
to them very often for obvious reasons, but I might start a conversation, or my wife might.
Yeah, very good. So
See
Eucla
what
would-
their thoughts are.
Well, Eucla would be, like I said, Eucla is just if you sort of balance the distance between Perth and, well, Melbourne, or Adelaide, Eucla is kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
There are, many hundreds of kilometers, in fact, thousands of kilometers either side with nothing. So picking a middle point is very, very strategic, because if Tesla accepts that as a winner, then we can help them out. So let's just say, I think it's pretty public knowledge that the supercharger voting, there are additional funds that Tesla provides to install superchargers for vote-winning locations. And that's a strategic thing that Tesla has decided to do. Now, I have zero doubt that Tesla Australia would love to have superchargers, well, everywhere, basically, obviously, and certainly across the Nullarbor without any doubt, and maybe even up and down the guts between, Port Augusta and Darwin, and say across the middle, 3 ways to Townsville, something like that. We as a community can help Tesla do this by getting Balladonia voted as the next successful place, asking for something like Eucla to be the next candidate to be voted on next round, and obviously to be voted up. And then once we've done that, we could help them. If it sort of is this sort of play of every quarter we need to just pick another spot to get additional funding, then we'll go Ceduna, and then we'll go Kaiguna
Cockle
and Cocklebiddy or whatever, and then we can go, Nundroo or Nullarbor, and we can play the game of every quarter we just keep upvoting a Nullarbor route. And then when we're pretty happy that the Nullabor's done, then we should probably go from Townsville to Mount Isa and to 3 ways, and then up to Darwin, and then down to Adelaide. And then that way, and then we can also work on, by then, well before then, we know Geraldton's already a winner. So we already know Jurien Bay is going to be installed because it has to be. We can then try and attempt something like, it's a bit hard. say Geraldton to Carnarvon, but really you probably want to gun for Geraldton to Karratha because that's a major town, and there's the mining aspect and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, anyway, there's a lot of things we can sort of strategically do in the longer term, but in the short term, the best thing we can do is just hammer Baladonia, make sure it's vastly out in front, or at least similarly with Sejuna. And then look, even if this round it's Baladonia, next round it's Sejuna, and then another round it's Eucla. But let's try and get Eucla as a suggested voting location. And like I said, next week I'll do a live thing. And actually, I might be able to. I'll see if I can do it without
Doesn't take long.
doxing myself. Chris, you got while I'm doing that, Chris, you've got your hand up, so ask away.
Yeah, no, I was just saying hi all. I managed to stay online. I'm in Perth now, so managed to get over here. Yeah, no, it's a good segue because I travelled from Brisbane. It took me 4 days to get to Perth. But the Nullarbor was probably the most hairy part of the travel. Baladonia conked out on me. The diesel generator kicked in, and then it just, diesel generator kicked in, and then it just stopped, wouldn't charge. So I managed to get to Norseman. As you know, the DC hasn't worked there for a while. The AC charger there wouldn't work either. So I had to pot around to the caravan site there, managed to get about 2 kilowatts, and I hypermiled to Coolgardie, where they've got the fast charger there, before going to Kalgoorlie. But I got to say the Biofill DC charger at Mundrabilla was a godsend. I mean, you got 50 kilowatts. It's probably the only 60 kilowatt
60
DC charger probably along the Nullarbor. Most of them are running at 30 kilowatts if you're lucky.
Yeah, Chris, it's actually 60.
Is it?
It's even better. It's better than the nameplate of the Tritiums. It's not only is it actually 50, it's really 60 kilowatts.
Okay.
That charger.
But and it's free too, even better. So
yes,
which is good. So I think what John Edwards, set that up, which is good. It's Norseman. I don't know what's happening there. You probably have a better idea.
I'll tell you what the idea. I'll tell you what's happening there, Chris, is precisely nothing. That Kempower stopped working, and all due respect to Kempower, I am all but certain it has zero to do with Kempower. It has everything, I surmise, to do with a certain subcontractor of Horizon Power, which I'm not going to name tonight, that has a module inside that is doing a few minor things. And if that fails, what effectively happens is there's just no way for the Kempower to be controlled, and it basically becomes useless. So it's disgusting that Horizon Power has chosen to accept that Norseman is out of action for what must be now a few months.
I reported it out of action towards the end of February, Harold.
Yeah.
There you go. So February, March, April, May. That's at least 3 solid months. And I wouldn't call Norseman Antarctic, Scott Base on the Antarctic. It's eminently, it's 7 hours by car from Perth. And the thing is, Horizon Power has a depot, I'm pretty sure, at Norseman. And in fact, it's actually, in fact, all of that is beside the point. If the WA government believes that it's important to encourage the uptake of EVs, and that's a correct thing to do, which it alleges it is, and it aligns with its net zero and blah blah, all its aspirations and commitments, then it doesn't matter how hard it is to fix something.
Mm.
You either fix it, or what they should do better for the WA community, or actually the Australian community, is just remove it. Say, sorry, we wasted the taxpayers' money. We admit that we're too stupid to fix it properly, or can't be bothered, or we don't really like EVs, or it's just all too hard. Let's just remove it, grind off the mounting bolts on the pad, and put a rubbish bin there instead, because at least a rubbish bin is useful because you can put your rubbish in the bin, as opposed to, looking at something that is as useful as is less useful than a rubbish bin.
Yeah. The
It's-
cynic in me thinks that they're probably waiting for a third party to come along and put in their own product, like Lumia or perhaps Tesla. But yeah,
the realist in me says they don't give a rat's,
yeah,
is the correct answer.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, the Energy Minister, the Honourable Amber Jade Sanderson, her ministerial employees are hell-bent on protecting the minister, never let any bad news go to the minister, always just flick it back to someone like Horizon Power with a little note that says, can you be bothered to fix this? And Horizon Power, through, I would now have to conclude, is structural incompetence and disinterest, just can't be bothered actually doing anything about it. And therefore the minister is blissfully unaware. The minister thinks, oh, everything's all hunky-dory and great.
Yeah.
And nothing to see here. It's all rosy. And keep buying your EVs, you idiots, because you can drive them everywhere. It's awesome.
yeah. Anyway,
It was in Time magazine. It was featured in Time magazine, so it must be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
mm.
But,
Thanks,
but
Doc.
yeah, but welcome, Chris. I'm glad you made it in spite of the Nullarbor. Now, you
Yeah.
came from Brisbane, I think you said.
Yeah.
So pray tell, in a Tesla, obviously.
Yep.
So-
Model Y long range Juniper.
Right. So, did you try anything like you're leaving home in Brizzy and you just go, let me navigate to Port Augusta from Brisbane, and your navigation would have said, sure, you can go to New Italy, you'll spend 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, Coffs Harbour, all the way to Sydney. I mean, obviously, if you go to Adelaide, it'll probably cross you not through Melbourne. But the beauty of being in the eastern seaboard is, and you can do this actually, I did it from 150 kilometres east of Hughenden on the way to Charters Towers, on the way to Townsville. And I just did a voice prompt and I said, navigate to Melbourne. And it just gave me this string of pearls from Townsville to Rockhampton, blah, 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 all the way to Melbourne, and said, it's only going to take you 27 hours and you're going to spend this amount of time at each supercharger. To have that sort of experience is just exactly the way it should be. Like Elon Musk said, you can't just have superchargers in some of the places that people want to use their cars, their Teslas. You've got to have superchargers going to all of the places people want to go, because not doing so devalues the product. So your experience, Chris, on the eastern seaboard would have been, oh no, I've only got 10 minutes before I have to leave. And it's like a 3-minute walk down to the, I mean, I don't know if you went to the Calliope supercharger and,
No. No.
oh, okay. Well, the hotel's sort of up the top, and then you got to walk. It's about 3 minutes to get down to the BP to buy some food. And by the time you get down there, have a comfort break, get your food, your smartwatch or whatever will go off to say that your car's ready to go.
Yeah.
Now,
I took the inland route through Cobar,
Yep.
then Seduna, yeah, and then to Kalgoorlie, then to
Yep.
Perth. Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
cool.
longest trip was Seduna to Kalgoorlie. Yeah,
Yes, and that's a tough one. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it was
because
a long day.
Border Village is
Yeah,
broken.
still gone. Yeah, yeah.
Nullarbor, did Nullarbor Roadhouse work for you on that day?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you were lucky. You probably got 40 kilowatts. Yes.
Thereabouts. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think. It's a vague memory now.
Yeah, I
Probably
from memory it
PTSD.
was you did get 40 kilowatts instead of the 80, which is the nameplate, by the
Oh
way.
yeah. No, it's Plugshare told me you're not going to get anywhere near that. Yeah,
I got
yeah.
38 both times I charged through there when I went to Brisbane and back, January, February.
Hey Chris, I've got a question for you. Are you with Telstra?
No. Vodafone, but I did have Starlink Mini in the back. But unfortunately, it occasionally keeps conking out. Now I don't know if that's because
You're moving.
the
Did you
12
have
volt charger.
so Chris, did you have the Roam service on, or did you have just a $15, $8 plan?
No, I took the unlimited plan
Oh, okay.
just to be on the
So
safe side.
which Model Y have you got? Sorry, oh, you got Juniper. You got
Yeah,
Juniper.
long range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It could be the cigarette adapter I've got plugged in the back.
yes.
May
Yeah.
not be the right type.
No,
No,
giving
it
enough
falls
power.
out. No, what happens, Chris, is it wiggles out. So
Oh, okay.
especially if you got, did you have a double adapter, or did you have or did the plug go straight in?
Plug just goes straight in.
Yeah. Okay. Because the Junipers, and in fact the newer Model Ys, I'm not sure if it's all Model Ys, have the lithium ion battery, which provides 15 volts, which is actually quite good, 15 and a half. So that's actually better for a Starlink Mini.
Okay.
It can be fed off 12 volts, but sometimes you can get like a bit of a volt drop and it might not be quite right. But you're more likely to have an issue with, I had terrible trouble. I had a double adapter because I've got a fridge in a boot fridge, and the double adapter would sort of wiggle itself out, and then you get like a dicky contact, and then if it lost voltage just for a brief fraction of a second, the Starlink would then reset, and that can cause problems.
Okay.
The other thing is too that I found that the mounting it to the back window is not as good as the dash.
Okay.
So what you can do is put it with the landscape. So you've got it laying on your dash rather than that way across your dash like that. You have it like this, and that sort of matches with your MCU, with your touchscreen. So if your touchscreen is upright, you can then mount it with the lip, with the side just sitting on the touchscreen, and just get like a little bit of double-sided tape, and you can just like sit it on there, and it then just sits on your dash. And then you can actually get from Amazon, you can get a 3-way power lead for a Starlink Mini, and it has the cigarette lighter at one end.
Right.
At the same end, it also has a USB-C connector, and it also has the Starlink Mini DC connector that you can plug into the 240 volt adapter. And then at the other end, it's just got the standard Starlink Mini DC plug.
Okay.
So with that, you've got 3 power options, and the Junipers and the Highland Model 3s. Oh, actually, I think also the Highland Model 3s, but I know the Junipers definitely have the higher power, the PD USB ports.
Okay.
So if you plug it into a USB port, it'll definitely run the
Power off
Minis.
that. Okay.
But you'll probably get a better performance having it on your dash, sitting up against your MCU. Be careful not to have it offset to the passenger side, because if the passenger airbag goes off, you might send your Starlink flying. So just keep it centered to your your touchscreen, you'll probably get a better experience in future
Okay. Well, thanks for that.
for Starlink.
Because I was wondering, it kept cutting out, and when I was at Balladonia and the DC cut out, I tried to go onto the AC charger that's there, but it just couldn't get a handshake, and I wasn't sure if that's. I've used, since I've been in Perth, I've used the cable I've got at one of the local 22 kilowatt AC chargers, and it works. It obviously goes to 11 kilowatts. So I wasn't sure if it was the cable I had that wasn't working. Just wasn't authenticating.
So at Balladonia, sorry, did you say Balladonia or Mundrabilla?
Balladonia, when the charger cut out there, when the diesel kicked in, I thought of going off and using the AC charger there. They've got an AC charger behind the DC.
So was it screen working on the AC charger?
It seemed to.
Right.
The ChargeFox web app said, or the app said it was. The
Available.
DC had whatever they use the word stalled or not stalled, but it
had an error or a fault.
But it didn't say that the AC charger had an error. So.
Chris,
sorry,
I've put in the chat a link to that 3-in-1 cable that
thank you.
was referring to.
Yeah, cool.
It's like $30 or something. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually, I found it great value. It's just great for a car kit, but it also, if you were on a longer holiday and you remembered to bring your AC adapter, it meant if you're in a Airbnb or whatever, you could just plug it into the wall and still connect using the same cable. So that cable does sort of everything. And it does. There are certain length options as well. You can get
that's a 10-foot. That's a 10-foot or a 3-meter one that I put in there.
Yeah.
But we should say it does almost everything, but only with the Starlink Mini, not for the other.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Starlinks.
And I think it.
So,
it says it in the title too. I think that's part of the title. So it's only Starlink Mini, of course.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Yeah, because I had the Starlink installed on the back, so I'll move it up the front. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, I was a bit more low tech than Harold. When I put my Starlink Mini in the landscape on the dash, I just used non-stick stuff, non-stick table mat, and it didn't slide and it stayed there, so it was easier to pull off of an evening. When I went inside, I also used a separate battery.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And therefore, there was no dependence on car power being on or off or anything like that. And then of an evening, I would recharge the battery so that the Starlink was available all day the following day.
Okay, it's a good idea.
The other thing too, as a side note, is I'm sure you would have done this, Chris, but on the Teslas now, you've got to go into the charging menu and click, if you want to use your Starlink while you're parked, is click on the auxiliary power output enable when the car is parked. Because if you're sitting in it, it's totally fine. But if you get out and close the door, it turns off the 12 volt or the 15 volt power. And then your Starlink will have to reboot when you get back in your car, and it's just a pain. So,
or just get yourself one of those power banks. I found it can last almost an hour on one of those. I forget how big it is, but I think whatever the maximum is that you can take on a plane.
Anchor.
Anchor
is a brand?
No.
There are different ones. Yeah, there's lots of
yeah.
different ones, Jared. There's tons of them. There's tons. Cool, very good. All right, Mike, you've got your hand up.
Oops. Speaking of Starlink, would you like to see something? Thanks to John Paul.
I won't be able to see it though, because we can see it.
Hang on.
Yeah, big cardboard box.
Yeah, hang on. Oh, is it going to show?
Well, it's
Whatever
not
it's
it's
gonna
not a
be.
human face,
No, hang
Mike.
on.
So it's gonna
What's
your
happening?
zoom's too clever. No, because it's
It
looking
is.
for a human.
Oh, what a bastard. Anyway, I've got a big Starlink box here.
Very good.
Oh, there you go.
Very
Oh,
good.
hang on. It came in for a minute.
Yeah, it did come good. Yeah.
You get the idea.
Yes.
So yes,
You
that
got a
arrived
Starlink
today.
box, and you got it for precisely nothing.
Yes, because they're just renting them out now, right? So it's all included in the price.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm
I
not
got
sure
one
if
of them
you.
too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
JD,
they're
you were going to get one. Yes, that's right.
they're
Except
fantastic.
Today, and I'm doing the meme of rocket launches, which is waves fist at cloud because it's going to be rainy tomorrow, so I'm not going to make a hole in the roof to get up there.
So Pete Petrovsky, how much did you pay for your Starlink Mini? Is it like $1,200 or something when you first came out?
Whatever the highest price that it ever went for, Jared. But I bought 3 of the bloody things now. So I first bought the round one, then the rectangular one, and then the mini one. So
The dollar
I've given-
averaging there, Pete. Dollar averaging.
yeah, I'm dollar averaging. But yeah, I would have been better off not just stopping after the first one. But anyway, dollar averaging at a very high price.
The Mini was $800 when it first came out, wasn't it? Or more?
Yeah, I paid something like no, actually, I don't think I paid 800. I paid like 600 or something for it.
I paid
Did you
$4.
guys pay congestion or charge or something as well? I had one that was like 1,300 or something like that.
Ooh.
Joining the cities. Oh, I didn't. I'm like Mike. I got it before him. It was free. So,
Yeah.
but I know that they were charging that.
There's a priority one that you can pay if you want priority. An extra $45 a month, I think it is. So you get
Yeah.
priority over everyone else if you're in that area.
Okay.
No.
They'll launch
The other
Starship
thing that
soon,
might
and
be interesting
we'll be
for
right.
people if they're thinking of this is that I have a post or poll from my old
Foxtel dish.
Foxtel type satellite dish, which
Oh,
I ripped off because I've been meaning to take it off the wall anyway. And so then I needed a pole adapter, and of course, you know, Starlink sell one for their usual prices, but I got. I wonder if it's going to work again, or is it just going to? Oh, there we go. There we go. And it's made of metal, and it costs $27,
oh, yeah.
which is actually
That's
when you
great.
consider what they normally cost. So
Yeah, it's pretty good. Is that Temu or is that
No, it's
Amazon?
Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
And that's its normal price. That wasn't like a half price thing or something. I
Yeah,
thought it was going to be
yeah.
some shitty plastic. I thought, oh yeah, $27. We'll see what it's like. I may or may not use it, that sort of thing. But I'm going to use it because it's like, I don't know if you can hear that. It's quite good.
Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah,
it's very good.
You can see that, and it came in nice packaging. Another box that won't show. Yeah,
No,
really
no, it
does-
won't show.
Yeah, it doesn't like boxes, does it? You can't see them.
No, because
No,
it's
you
looking
gotta-
for humans. It's
You got to
that's
take
how
the
it's
green
blocking.
screen off.
Yeah,
That's
So
right. You've
that-
got to
that-
go
go on,
on.
Harold.
I was just going to say, unless you've got something like that,
Yeah.
a proper green screen, it's just you can't. I can do objects. Look, I can do. Look, flash mode. You know,
Yes.
you can. You know.
Well, the reason you can't see me is because my internet is so bad that I can't really do FaceTime or
Yep,
any of this sort
yep.
of streaming. But my Starlink kit, they forgot about it, and I'm actually getting an installer to put it in.
Yep.
And they rang up and made an appointment, and then a few days later they said, "Oh, have you got your kit yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't heard anything." So I got onto Starlink through the app and asked them where my kit was, and it arrived 2 days later. So I reckon they'd forgotten it.
Well, that's good.
No,
Did they give
Jackie,
you?
I think there was a backlog, and I
Yeah.
think there must have been a major shipment to Australia because I got my dish a few days ago. So
Right.
I think, and there was like about was it a 6 week wait? When I ordered it, they said, "Oh yeah, it'll be a few weeks away." So I think there was a major shipment, and I know Starlink normally keep local stock in Jandakot. I think there's a big warehouse,
I think it was Canning. Was it Canning?
or
It had
or
an
Canning
address where
Vale.
it came from. Canning Vale.
Yeah,
Canning
Canning
Vale.
Vale. Sorry, yes. So I think demand has been going through the roof. So um, during the SpaceX IPO roadshow, an often quoted number of subscribers was 10 million, but that was actually from, I think, the end of the March quarter, and it's subsequently gone to close to 12 million, or
Twelve and
possibly
a half
beyond
now.
12 million subscribers. So SpaceX are pumping out these things like you would not believe. And I think it was literally a case of Australia had to wait because it just makes it's a no. If you're in a rural area, it's the only way to get real internet. You know, absolutely the only way, and a very cost effective way. You know, so I think that's why it was, Jackie, that you got yours a couple of days ago. Because I think we all, and Mike got his.
Today.
It must have been, was it today or yesterday?
Today.
Mike?
Came today.
Yeah. So I dare say there's probably a sea containers of them that have come to Perth and they're being distributed.
And I think they must have arrived earlier because when I placed the order, it was going 3 to 6 weeks away. And it's been well within that time.
Yeah, when I ordered mine, they said about 2 weeks. And it's about 2 weeks now since I actually got the kit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what happened with me when I ordered mine however long I told you guys about. And it came, they gave a delivery date, didn't come. And so then I complained through the app and then they gave me a month free. And then it rocked up the next week. So
well, I'm already getting threatening messages saying you need to connect your Starlink. If you don't connect within 7 days, we're going to start billing you.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's part of the.
That's a welcome.
That's in.
Yeah,
That's in the.
welcome to country.
That's part of your contract.
They do warn you, and mine is active today, and I haven't installed it yet because I've got to get up on a 2-story a commercial roof and do things and the roof's not mine, and I just haven't got round to it, and I haven't bothered to sling it over the balcony yet, but I will. But yeah, you do get 7 day grace period, and then they just say because you haven't paid for it. If you had paid for it, so for example, you can go to JB Hi-Fi, and I think maybe Officeworks and other places, and just buy the terminal, and once you've bought it, you don't have to do anything with it because it's yours, and then you can subscribe. But if you get it on a deal whereby there's nothing down and you just commit to a certain amount per month for, is it maybe 12 months? I'm not sure.
12 months.
Then they do basically say, well, once we've delivered it to you, and it actually is delivered, you've got to get it. Well, you either get it working or you pay for it anyway. It's up to you. They don't care whether you don't use it, but that's obviously the deal because they'll start billing you.
And that's fine, but I took the option of having installation, and I paid for that, and I've paid for the delivery of the kit, so that was about $160. So until their installer comes and installs it, they better not charge me.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the problem is that the installer is probably not really their installer per se. It will be a subcontractor or whatever. But look, you can get it running yourself in a very basic sense, whereby you can just slap it on the ground, especially if you've got an outside power point, hook it up, even with the little, you got the little white router, the Wi-Fi router. So you just connect it all together onto a PowerPoint, keep the router bit undercover. Although I think most of the stuff is actually, the dish is certainly waterproof, so there's not an issue there. It's got, you'll notice when you open up the kit, it's got the little glands that seal the connections.
I would call them grommets.
Grommets. Sorry, yes, grommets. Jackie. Yep,
rubber
absolutely
grommets,
correct.
On the wiring. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it's all IP67 or whatever they call it.
Exactly. So you could just hook it all up together, plug it into a PowerPoint, and you can get internet there and then. In a very basic sense, sitting on the grass or on the porch or whatever. And then, in a week or two, when the installers come, they can then chuck it up on the roof and do it
You just
in a
won't
more
get the
permanent.
maximum rates, that's basically what happens. Because you've got trees, I think, around and all that, haven't you?
I have lots of trees.
Yes.
Has to go on
Yeah.
the roof
Yeah.
to get, but during the middle of the day when, when there's a bit of clear sky, I might be able to get it operate. Yeah, I just haven't really got around to it actually,
No.
but
Yeah.
I got to laugh at the way it all works, and of course, it's the installer had to give my spot to somebody else,
Yeah.
and so I've had to wait an extra couple of weeks. But he's
Yeah.
now talking about Saturday, so I'm really looking forward to good internet.
Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Now, while I've got a chance to ask a question, I
Yes.
went in and did the voting for the supercharger.
Belladonna? Very good.
And I selected, but it would only let me vote once.
Yes, sadly so. Yes. So strategically, it's better, and I've been trying to encourage people. You can do 2 votes, one for Belladonna and one for Sejuna.
Yeah, that's
And
what I did.
then don't feel a compulsion to spend the other 3 votes, because in a sense, if you spent it the same way as everyone else did, it's counterproductive, because all it does is it brings up a top 5 locations, but we don't want a top 5 location. We don't want 5 locations that are all very similar at the very top. We want one winner, because Tesla only chooses one winner. And like I said before, it doesn't really matter. And precisely. So what you should do, if you can be bothered, is think of a remote location in another country that's not in the Asia Pacific. Although actually that doesn't really matter at the moment because we're so far in front. So if there's a place in New Zealand that you like, that you think, especially in the South Island, say near Milford Sound or whatever, I can't remember the place now, but vote for one of those, because that won't really compete with Belladonna. And maybe if there's another place in Europe or in the Americas or wherever, then do spend those votes that way. But the most to be gained is that one single vote for Belladonna. And my lament is, as TOCWA, as a Tesla Owners Club of WA, for example, on our Facebook page, we have over 7,000 members. And yet here we are with less than 600 votes for Belladonna. If every one of our Facebook members voted for Belladonna, that would be probably one of the world record beating votes for any site on Earth. But I guess the lament is not everyone looks at the Facebook page, and it takes at least 3 mouse clicks to do a vote. Sorry, and it takes a little bit of keyboard tapping if you haven't saved your login, because you have to log in to vote. Now, speaking of which, and I'm going to go straight to you, John and James, but since we've got the supercharger voting, let's just do this thing live, and I'll see if I can do it properly. So you've got your normal voting, and you've got your vote bit, and you've also got suggest new location. Now, obviously, this is going to necessarily dox my email address, but I'm sure most people know it, and so do the scammers. Hello to you that know my date of birth and all the other stuff. But you put in your name and your email address, and then suggested location address. Now, I'm going to try and remember how to do this. And you go EYRE HIGH. Here we go. So now you can see Air Highway Sejuna. So we just click on that, and then we go in, backspace, and go EUCLA, and you hit enter, and that's not gonna. Why is that?
It
not
is
working?
right below it, Harold.
Oh, it is too. Sorry. Yes, thank you. So there we go. So you do that, and then benefit of location, you go need to get to my travel destination, right? And then you hit submit. And that's all you need to do. So please, 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 and what I'll do is actually do this at the start of the next show, because not everyone, except for Russell and Joseph and a few others, watch the whole program and punish themselves. I'll do that at the start of next week's episode. So please don't just vote for Balladonia, but vote for Eucla as the suggested voting location for the next round. And if we could possibly just help Tesla pick that as the next location for voting, and we do vote for it, then I think we can really nail down Tesla to doing the Nullarbor, which is going to be a great achievement. Because it'll all be on renewable power. It'll all be solar powered. Tesla will not do a diesel-backed installation. It will be all solar or nothing,
And
which
it'll
is
be
a great
monitored,
achievement.
and it'll be maintained.
Oh, yes. And to repeat something I've probably said a few other times, the day after a supercharger was installed, I forget what it's called, but it's near the Gundagai supercharger, a circuit breaker, when I had arrived, a circuit breaker had some minutes earlier popped because of a power cycle or something. I actually managed to ring someone at Tesla that I knew, and he said, yeah, we know there's a technician on the way. He'll be there in about 45 minutes. Now, this is near Gundagai between Canberra and Melbourne. Oh, well, sorry, maybe Albury-Wodonga. As soon as Tesla was aware there was a problem with a supercharger site, I dare say within minutes, they had a plan to do something. Contrast that with the WAV network, whereby something is broken, vandalized, not working, lost power, whatever, and it's not minutes or hours or days or weeks, it's months and counting. So the only way to get guaranteed reliable fast DC charging in Australia is for it to be a Tesla supercharger. That's the only way you can guarantee. And that's not us being fanboys and girls. It's just the depressing truth.
It's the numbers. The Tesla claim their uptime is 99.97% in terms of having at least one stall available at a charge site. I'd say the closest second would be 90%, somewhere around there. And 90% may sound high, but it's actually woefully low. It's just completely unacceptable, because it means that 1 out of 10 times you can't charge. That's like going to petrol stations and 1 out of 10 has run out of petrol. Everyone would be up in arms. So yeah, 90% is just crap. So anything short of about 99% is no good.
I don't think I don't think the Halls Creek DC, since it was installed, has been available to use for more than 50% of the time. And the proportion is decreasing by the day. And Fitzroy Crossing is not far behind it. Less than 50% of the time. And counting, and it hasn't been available for months and months and months and months and months and months. And there's no sign but once something is not available for several months, where is the incentive? Since there's no utilization, no one's using it. So why do we fix it? Anywho, let's go to, and I need to take that blood pressure tablet. John, we'll go to John and James.
Just on another subject. Tesla,
yeah, please.
do you have any insight about the insurance companies and the use of FSD, the version 13, hardware for FSD, and the reduction of premiums like they're doing in the States? Have they
Nothing in
been-
nothing in Australia. Nothing.
Okay.
Zero.
They
Zip.
haven't
Nothing.
gone there yet as far as data. Okay. No, just if you'd heard anything about that.
No, sorry, John, no. I certainly haven't heard anything. And I dare say it's one of those self-evident things. As soon as a single insurance company realizes they can save money and encourage Tesla owners to do this, they'll be onto it like a seagull to a hot chip.
Yeah.
As soon as they can make $1 out of it. But
So-
it just hasn't happened yet.
For the
It's not-
benefit of others watching, there's a insurance company in the US called Lemonade,
Lemonade, yeah.
and they will give you a 50% discount on whatever proportion of your monthly
Kilometres.
driving that you
Yep.
do on FSD. So let's say 70% of your driving was on FSD, you'd only pay 50% of your premium on 70%. So
Of
you'd
the
pay
premium,
35%. Yeah. Yeah. So, but another news story. So Tesla is effectively
No, you get a 35% discount, Pete.
correct. So yeah. So just segue into another news story. In Austin or in Texas, Tesla has effectively self-certified themselves, because that's how you do it, to be a level 4 system as far as Texas is concerned, which means that if you're in a robo-taxi and there's an accident, then Tesla pays for it. So Tesla is liable. So that's a first, I think. Apart
Yep.
from, have
Yeah,
they
Mercedes
been
Benz did briefly,
right? Okay, yeah.
but it was too hard with the geography. They had to have so many constraints. It was basically unworkable.
No, it was great, Steve. You had to be on a large freeway, and you had to have a lead car in front of you, and you had to be driving less than the speed limit of the freeway, and various other restraints.
And
before
the
it would
weather,
engage.
the weather had to be
And nice weather.
favourable.
Yes, nice
And you
weather.
couldn't
The
have
Yes,
any
environment had to be
roadworks.
fine. Yep.
yes, yeah. All right, James, you got your hand up, and then Steve.
You're on mute, buddy.
You're still well and
Still
truly
on
muted.
mute.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Yep, just got Tesla Powerwall rebates, so $750 for each battery. That was a rather nice present.
Oh, very good. Was that in
But,
addition to a battery rebate of the federal
Yep.
government, or?
Add on top, separate to everything else, just for buying them. $750
Hey,
per
James.
battery.
I've just
um,
done the first half of that.
Right.
So I've got the contract to put the Powerwall 3 in. So I've done the register.
Yep.
And when it gets installed, I'll be doing the second part, hopefully
Yep.
end of this month.
Right. While I was looking at the German store, the Tesla store, I explored and I found, have you seen all the minis that are available in the store? I put a link
Mini
in
what?
the
Sorry.
chat. Mini everything. Go to the chat, click on the Tesla store link and scroll down to see Tesla minis. It'll cost you a bit. Harold, I can see these all on your desk next week. So I don't know, are these new? I've never seen them before.
Yeah,
You mean the salt and pepper shakers? No, that's not.
No.
how that-
mini
Scroll down.
carbs.
You said the German store. No, that's ENAU.
No,
Sorry.
I found them while I was searching the German store for other things.
Oh.
Didn't realize we had them.
Is it?
We've got the
Sorry,
Cybercab
what's the category called?
lifestyle,
Lifestyle.
and then half a drinkware is Tesla minis.
Mm.
There we go. Sorry, let me just put that up. Oh, a Cybercab wind-up racer. Right. Let me just get that up.
Get the
Just
water.
what every grown person wants is a Cybercab wind-up rotor for $50 only,
Yeah.
and a Model 3 and a Tesla Semi Cybertruck wooden playset. Oh, it's even got little divots so that your Cybertruck doesn't fall off the back of my Semi. That's going to give me a
Hover over
Semi
the
just looking at
die-cast
that.
cars, all the doors open.
Ooh.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's a bit weird, that one, though. That's not quite a... It's, yeah, I guess that's a Semi. 20th anniversary commemorative speed form set, only $430. Oh, and a levitating Cybertruck.
Yeah, that looks funky.
Yeah, yeah.
$280.
Only $280.
$280.
I'd buy at least a half a dozen of those. Model X, yeah, it's the wrong color. You can have black, or you can have not
Grey.
black, grey-ish.
Right.
Model 3 in a few colors. Model Y. Yeah, can I get the little smear of the cow when it hit the? Can I get like a cow dent? No. Ooh,
Yeah, there's a
Cybertruck.
white duct tape in the front of that Model Y.
Oh yes, you can have little mini duct tape. Yeah, that'd be cool. Model S. Yeah, my wife has she got? Is there one in red? Oh yes, there is. Yes, it is. There it is. Very nice. And a Roadster and a Semi. Yeah, but I want the real size Semi. Ooh. Oh, and a Mega Pack charger.
Is
Only
actually a charger.
$200.
Hover over it.
Oh, it is too. Imagine that. Oh, and an an Optimus, and a salt and pepper shaker, and the branding iron. The thing is, once you've branded yourself, what are you going to do with it? Like, there you go. And a Cyber Whistle Stealth Silver that only your dog can hear. Very good.
So everyone starts saving now for Christmas.
Yeah.
Father's
Yes,
Day's around the corner.
You're going to have an Optimus on your desk next week, aren't you, Harold? You'll have a little scale model, posable Optimus introduced in the show.
Gee, have I got?
He's got one
No,
already.
you can't. No, I don't have an Optimus. I've got a Cybertruck and a couple of empty tequila vessels, and stuff. Ah, very good. All right. So that was your thing, James. Steve, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Rowan, and then we're getting towards the end of the program.
Yeah, Margaret River, superchargers.
Yes, it is.
There are 3 of them. And then
Yes.
you've got the 3 destination chargers.
Yes.
Why are the destination chargers not energized?
Oh,
I was there on
well,
Saturday
that's
morning. I connected up. Nothing happened. So I actually had a good look, and there's no lights on the 3 destination chargers at all. And of course, they don't have the override switch. So you can't, as you can in some places, turn them on or off. What made it awkward was the seed line that was parked in the center was taking the power from the next cable. So there was only one charger available when there were 2 cars there. This would not be a good thing.
in fact, not only would it not be a good thing, it is not a good thing.
Yes.
Blood pressure tablets.
So
Yeah.
no, this isn't a blood pressure tablet thing because it's not the WAV not work. The problem with the layout, okay, it says there's 2 parts to that. I'll have
Yes.
to report that to Tesla. I know one way you can. Oh no, I haven't
She's
looked.
on plug share
If
is
someone,
being under repair.
yeah, it depends on whether that means Tesla
Coming
is
soon.
repairing it and they're aware. I presume they're aware of it. Um, I know you can report issues with a supercharger site,
Mm.
and I think usually what happens is you actually supercharge, and then there's like a feedback mechanism to say how was your charge. Now, of course, it's not a supercharge; it's a destination charge. But I can't remember if when you report how your experience was on the supercharger, whether there's like a button there where you can press other issues, and then maybe in the I don't know if there's a commentary section whereby you could say the next door destination charger is not working. I mean, look, Tesla may be aware. I don't want to hammer the Tesla sales guys, but
Yeah.
one other method might be, rather than like ringing the emergency road assist, which is another method, you could ring that. Like I said, I hope the guys don't hate me for saying this or suggesting this, but if someone pops into a Tesla into O'Connor or Osborne Park, maybe just say to maybe the service guys, because they're more service oriented, and really that's more that end rather than a new car sale, and say, hey, can you somehow push it up the line that, you know, the destos at Margaret River are not working? And they may say, yeah, we know, or something.
Surprised me. Interesting that there were more non-Teslas charging at the Tesla superchargers than there were Teslas. There was two of us at different times, but there was a Polestar, a BYD Shark, and the Sea Line.
So you lamented that the layout is, you know, you a non-Tesla EV that's inappropriately parked, or it's not inappropriate, but it's just unfortunately parked, effectively blocks out. Well, they block out
So
not just the
reverse
one they're
thing.
using, but the one next to it.
Yes.
So the perfect solution to that is the Osborne Park layout. I mean, it's almost perfect. It would be perfect if these were drive-through, but notwithstanding that, because obviously that'd be useful for trailers. But the great thing about this setup is it doesn't, because this is really like a petrol station with two rows of Bowsers, and you've got two lanes in between them, so that it doesn't matter what a car does here, it cannot affect a Tesla parking here, because a Tesla can always reach either one of these stalls because they're right side by side. So it doesn't matter what happens. And because there's actually these two bays are in, and this setup is independent of these two bays. So again, there's nothing, even if BYDs or however they sort of wrangle themselves go the wrong way, there's nothing they can do to inconvenience a Tesla. As opposed to, say, for example, at the Kogenup charger, which we thought was one of the world's best layouts, mainly because it had a great caravan drive-through facility. I'll just select Kogenup, and
Well, while you're doing that, Steve, you can go through your app and you can report the issue at the destination charger.
Okay,
cool.
I didn't do that, but I shall.
But you can
Give it a go.
So it's like location, you know, in your app, and then you choose charging, and then you choose the destination ones, because normally it's just superchargers, and you have to scroll right to where it is and click on it and then flick it up, and then it'll say, it gives all the particulars, and then you just click on report an issue. So hopefully that helps.
So, for example, if a BYD or something had plugged into this lane here, but had plugged into this stall because they went in front first and plugged into this stall, this stall can't be used by a Tesla going in this. Actually, there is a contrivance, because that Tesla could always have gone face the other way and used that stall there. I think the scenario is if two non-Teslas sort of straddle, they can effectively isolate. Actually, that's how it goes. So say there's a Tesla charging here, and then there's a BYD parked here, but it's using this stall. This stall becomes islanded and it can't be used because you can't get physical access to it, because there's a car here and a car there. That car's using that stall. This car here is using that stall. This one becomes islanded and can't be used. So the Osborne Park layout has actually solved it. And then, of course, in principle, at Kojonup, if you had 2 lanes between each set of stalls, then it guarantees that no non-Tesla EV can block out a stall or isolate a stall. So that's the way to go. But unfortunately, Steve, like, Margaret River, it's pre-installed. We're just going to have to accept that it looks like Tesla has the Osborne Park layout is the one they're going to adopt in future for everywhere. And maybe they might adapt other locations to have that same setup but drive through, which is obviously the best of all worlds. All right, Rowan.
Good evening. So I'm sitting in my dressing gown, so I'm not going to turn my camera on. I'm going to bed as soon as this thing ends. Okay.
It'll be soon, Rowan. I guarantee you.
No, we're recent arrivals in Perth. We've only been here less than 2 years. And last year we drove our Model Y that was in Sydney across to Perth. And we've been doing sort of little drives or sort of 2-week drives up and down the coast. And last 10 days ago, we went to Kalgoorlie and then back, doing some side trips as well. The thing I wanted to bring up was trying to get my cars to supercharge, to precondition for arrival at a WA charger, one of the ChargeFox ones. And I found that if I went right into the map and I clicked on the actual pin for the EV charger, I could get it to work at Merredin, Coolgardie, and Kalgoorlie, but not at Southern Cross. It would also work in Northam. Is this a common thing? Is this what?
Yes. So what Tesla do is, so apart from drilling down to the pin, you can also, and it frustrates me no end that you have to do this, if you type in ChargeFox space and then say C for Coolgardie or S for Southern Cross, the navigation thing will usually auto-complete and go ChargeFox Southern Cross. Right. And if you do that, or Kalgoorlie or Coolgardie or wherever, that'll get you to the actual charger, and without sort of getting, needing a bulk injection of blood pressure tablets, to be perfectly clear, ChargeFox does not own, and they are very good at telling people whenever they highlight that the ChargeFox network, which they are very fond of promoting as Australia's biggest fast DC charger network, they love to promote that fact. But as soon as someone says, yeah, but XYZ charger didn't work when I used it, they go, oh, Barleys, we're just the billing provider and we don't own the site, and that's up to the negligent site manager, owner, to do it. But it should really be known as a WAV network, Jurien Bay, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so if you do type in, if you don't want to bother drilling manually, just go ChargeFox space and then the first couple of letters of the town, and then it will come up. But Tesla has this esoteric sort of thing whereby not all of the non-supercharger sites have been
plotted into their database.
Have been added to their list of I wouldn't say reliable, but let's say suitable sites to be added to their map or their mapping or their map, or should I say their fast DC database. So if it's in the database, it will precondition. However, I actually think you're asking the wrong question. Or should I say, the question in most cases is superfluous, because in my experience of traveling or using any of the WAV network Kempower chargers, forget the 50 kilowatt tritiums in the remote areas, but any of the Kempower chargers on any Tesla, the most you'll ever absorb is about, it's not even 120 kilowatts. I think it's 115 or 18 kilowatts is the most
got
that will go into your.
111. I got 111.
Yes, that's
was the
yeah,
best I
yeah,
got,
yeah. So unless you like, say if you live in Netherlands and you drive to the Kempower in at Kings Park,
Right.
and your battery is say 15 degrees, and you're fairly low state of charge, maybe for a few minutes it might not be the full 111 or 100 and whatever kilowatts. The short answer is you don't need to precondition for almost, if you're on a road trip, you do not need to precondition at any of the WAV network sites. So
I disagree. Sorry.
Yep.
So Southern Cross, I couldn't get it to pick up on Southern Cross.
Yep.
And if I get to one of the WAV chargers, I get
Yep.
about 75 if it isn't precondition. Okay. I don't get higher than 75 kilowatts.
what car have you got?
That's the 24 Model Y. The other one is a 22.
So a Model Y standard range or a long range?
Yes, standard range.
Standard range. That's really, and okay, is this first thing in the morning? Like, is this, you've woken up and you've left the hotel room or motel and then go to the charger? Or is this just during the day after you've driven 100 Ks or something?
Yeah, well,
Or are you trying to?
it tends to be in the day. Sorry.
Yep.
It's I'm making a generalization because I've been watching on the trips and I've been trying to get the preconditioning so that I can get that earlier boost. Part of the reason
What state of charge have you? What state of charge have you arrived? Sorry, Paul, we're talking over. Let's just let
No,
Rowan.
I think Steve's trying to let.
No, I'm trying to jump in a bit.
Okay, well, 2 seconds. Let's just let Rowan just finish his thing, and then we'll just we can.
Did the chargers
Okay.
actually give?
Can we just okay? Let's just stop. Let's just let Rowan finish his story, and then we'll go
Yeah.
there.
I tend to do the thing of getting somewhere with 40-50% charge rather than getting down to 15% or something. Because if there's something wrong with that charger, I want to get to the next one. So
Right.
that's my backup.
So Rowan, so at above 50% state of charge. So what you should do is when you get to a Kempower, you'll notice that when you plug in, you'll see a QR code on the screen. Or if you don't see it, press on the button. There's an A and a B button. Press on the whichever button is the same side as the charge cable that you've connected your car to.
Right.
Then that will show a QR code. You just scan it. You just open the photo, the camera app of your phone, whether it's an iPhone or Google phone, Android. Click on the URL, the website that the QR code shows, and then that will show you the status of your charge session on the Kempower.
Right.
And then you will see a plot. It'll show you the current power that's going into your car as one of the screens. And I forget the button. It's something like more details or something. You press on that and you'll get a graph of your charge session. And it'll even plot when it thinks that you'll get to become full, how many minutes it'll take and all that sort of stuff. One of the great data points it'll show you is it'll tell you whether the power that's going into your car is limited by the charger because it can't give enough, it hasn't got enough, or limited by your car.
Okay.
So the thing is with with these LFP batteries, and to a lesser extent the long range batteries, once you're above pretty much 50%, they do start tapering. So you're not going to get your 111 kilowatts necessarily at those higher states of charge. rule of thumb, for example, I know from experience that even on the long range batteries, once you hit about 80%, you've got zero chance of getting more than 50 kilowatts, which is the crossover point when you can leave if
Right.
you've got 50 kilowatt charges ahead of you. So I'd be cautious with your presumption that you turned up and got only 70 kilowatts because you weren't warm enough. It's probably more likely to be because you're at a higher state of charge. And let Steve pop in case there was something
Thank you.
else that was related to that.
Yeah, I've used the Bunbury Kempower, and I'm pretty sure that one side is 75 kilowatts, the other side's 150.
Yes. There's two chem powers there. I think one of them is, let's call it 150 nameplate, and the other one's 75 nameplate. So there's definitely a dichotomy on those two
And-
separate
And
charges.
so I was wondering if Rowan's unfortunately had the experience of those other sites of connecting to the lower powered.
No. Yeah.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
no.
No.
There's
So
only-
Steve, so Rowan, 2 seconds. So Steve, that there's only a couple of sites whereby there is a different power level for the different chem powers, bearing in mind that each chem power can share power between two cars. But I know in Bunbury they actually had made the decision that one of the chem powers with two nozzles can do a maximum of 150 kilowatts, and the other one with two nozzles can do a maximum of 75. So that with two cars you'll get roughly 75 each on one of them, and then the other one you'll get actually 37 and a half. It's one of those things.
Okay.
Pretty rare.
Just an
Can I ask a
observation I've made there.
supplementary question? Sorry.
Yes, Ryan.
And it's completely off the charging. So if Steve wants to finish on that, I just want to ask a different question after he's finished.
Finished.
Okay. So I really want to do the wildflowers in my standard range Tesla, going up to some Malawa and coming down Morawa and Meriden that way. Has anybody done on this call, anybody done anything like that? And where have you charged? It just sounds like a fun thing to do.
So there are charges. I just So I think you mentioned Morawa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go and Malawa, I've just selected type 2 and 3 phase.
Right.
Now, of course, you could always select caravan main socket. So look, obviously, wherever there's a caravan park, you can charge using your mobile connector.
Right.
So if you went from Geraldton to Malawa, but I would recommend you ring ahead to make sure that at that caravan park they'll let you charge
Yeah.
at all, because we've heard previously that some caravan park owners or operators don't let you charge. So, but you can always, you can't presume, but you know that every caravan park has at least a 10 or 15 amp single phase outlet. I don't know if you're going to go to Yalgoo, but say if you went sort of Geraldton, Malawa, and I'm pretty sure that there must be, there is definitely a road going down to Mininu. Mininu has, at the Sports Oval, there's a 3 phase. But again, if you find, you've got to you should study PlugShare and look at all the posts. And also, so for example, Tanya says that you need a 10 meter cable to use the 3 phase at the Sport Oval. But I can't remember if there's a caravan park at Mininu. So it just depends. You've probably got to run some numbers to see what the interval distances are and what there is around to do something like that. Really, PlugShare is your friend as far as
I've
looking
actually
at-
got it open on my second screen while I've been planning in my head while listening to the rest of the conversations. And it's pretty easy. If I went from either Geraldton or, if I went up the coast to Geraldton and then across inland, I could probably, if I didn't do too many side trips, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Dalwallanu or something.
Dalwallanu. Yes,
Yeah.
Dalwallanu
I
has a
could,
50 kilowatt
yeah,
charger.
yeah. So I could get there, and then I can get to Goomaling, but then there's this, the Karun Hill Nature Reserve. There's just a big blank space between, it looks like 600 kilometers of nothing. Anyway, I
So,
did try and do a loop on the way back from Kalgoorlie, going up to Beacon, and the car couldn't make it, so I ended up cutting that out. Um, well, yeah, I didn't want to spend all day and all night at a 15 amp charger.
yeah.
Anyway, so it's a question, and if anybody else on the call's got any ideas and posts them, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to call it a night fairly soon, but you're more than welcome to come back. Oh, what we try and do, we used to do episodes longer than Ben Hur, literally. So, we'd be
Yeah.
rocking on till past 11 o'clock. And when we were younger and sillier, seemed like a good idea. But for the sake of people watching and participating, we try and limit it to the 2 hours up until
No
basically
worries.
now. But certainly come back next week. Look, in principle, what I sometimes do is you can just do something like lay out an Excel spreadsheet. You really want to have three-phase charging at least, because you're right. You don't want to necessarily punish yourself by having to stay upwards of 18 hours tethered to an outlet.
Yeah.
Look, the Great Northern Highway opening in the next couple of weeks, perhaps. Well, I'm fairly certain that's what's happening. That could be an alternative and might make things interesting, although in a slightly different direction.
Yep.
I guess the thing is, it's great to explore. Depending on your tolerance of taking a long time to do things, you might want to pick the lower hanging fruit. So
Yeah.
stick
Yeah.
closer to the coast, and don't forget there's also the Brand Highway, which has the NRMA charger at Eneabba. So
Yep.
I'm just trying to drag my PC is very slow. There we go, Eneabba. So that could help because you can do, from Three Springs you go Eneabba, or that
Yes. Yes.
it
I
just
can see that.
strategically. So you could include that as being a little bit more inland
Yeah. Yeah.
as part of it. So
So
you
I
just
just want to talk about my tolerance for taking chances is higher than my wife's. And on the trip from Sydney, I left Hay one morning, and it was a 50-kilometer-hour headwind, and I took the sort of direct route towards Adelaide to pick her up at the airport. And I got into the charger at some little podunk town, I can't remember the name, on exactly 0% battery.
very good.
But I wouldn't do that with anyone else in the car. So
Yes. Yeah, please don't, blokes, if you're Tesla blokes, please don't punish your wives by hypermiling down to zero and all that sort of stuff, or going, oh, it's all right, we'll just stay there for 18 hours in some hot caravan park in the middle of nowhere.
no.
Don't punish yourselves. Well, no, by all means, punish yourself because you deserve it, but don't punish your loved ones. They won't appreciate it. But
Thank you.
um, but definitely, look, things are getting better slowly, mostly. Yeah, plot it out. Just do your possibilities. See how long you're going to be. If you pick a three-phase, or you can see stuff. But for caravan parks, please, yeah, do ring ahead. I'd much rather you be told ahead of time, no, we don't want you charging, and then you saying, well, I'll just snip that bit off my trip, than you turning up, which others have done, such as at Mount Magnet, only to be told, nope, it's a safety concern, rah rah rah, and then having to beg for elsewhere, which is outrageous.
Hey, Harold,
I agree. Thank you.
speaking of punishing ourselves, it's quarter to 10.
Yeah, and I just used that as the
Segway.
well, no, not your bit, but yeah, I was already peeing up for. So is there any last minute this week? Yes, SpaceX API, go API, IPO. I'm not even sure if I think Paul's left us, so that's okay. So go SpaceX, to the moon and beyond, physically and metaphorically. Any last little questions or comments before we go? No, I think we're all good. So, Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this as if I didn't already know?
So always stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
The best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and we really do look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of TOCWA's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Caledonia.
You coming?
Bye.